All right. So, what is HVAC and why do we need it?
Well, the acronym of HVAC is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. Sometimes you have an R at the end of it that stands for refrigeration. It's just the heating and the conditioning of a building, technically what it is. Heating and cooling conditions of space.
What about the shampoo?
The shampoo, I mean, it's good. Tastes good too. Why do we need it? I mean, it's literally the whole reason that we can live in Nevada or Arizona or Mexico.
Yeah, here we'd die too if we didn't have it.
Yeah. It's just important to keep. I mean, also it's refrigeration part of it is also like how hot you want your food to be or how cold you want to keep your food.
Yeah.
To keep things, shelf stable.
Okay. So what are the different systems?
So we have your basic systems, which are kind of those ones over there, where you have an indoor unit and an outdoor unit.
Right.
The indoor unit can either be a furnace or air handler, just something to move air. An air handler, literally the whole thing of it is it just moves air.
Okay.
A furnace heats the air in like wintertime or when you want it hot. When it's 110 degrees outside and you want it to be 150 in your house.
Right.
You can pull that extra mile. You have heat pump systems. So it takes your indoor coil and your outdoor coil and switches them. So your outdoor coil normally rejects heat.
Okay.
Well, what it does is it adds heat. And then your indoor coil technically now rejects heat instead of adding heat, or the other way around. Heat pumps are good. They just struggle in the winter because it takes the outdoor air temperature. Right. And so when it's 30 degrees outdoor air, you're not adding much heat to your system. You also have window units and mini splits. Window units, of course, just these tiny little boxes in your window. Just heat or cool, mainly cool one little room. If it's a larger room, it won't do much. And mini splits are same, kind of like a window unit, but they're really only good for small spaces or larger rooms.
Okay.
And they're just ductless, so you just run your line sets and you're good.
Okay. So, what are the costs of HVAC systems?
Well, the cost varies. Like we just went over the system. Cheapest you can get, of course, is a window unit, then a mini split. Then I'd say regular heat pump and electric are kind of all three bunched together. They can all kind of three be the same price. It also varies on the tonnage of your system. How big the system is also varies on the pricing of it. Those right there, like $5,000, which is a lot.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It also depends on the company too. So those ones are Goodman units. Those ones are a little cheaper. York is probably the cheapest you can get. And HVAC's one of those things where you pay the price, you're going to get that quality. York, you're going to pay cheap price, you're going to get cheap quality. Goodman's like the Great Value brand. It's kind of just well-rounded. Yeah. Nothing exceptional, nothing horrible.
Okay.
Train, Aeon, those ones are top dollar brands. And so they give you top dollar prices, top dollar items too.
Okay. So HVAC components. Explain that to me. Like, what's in it?
So you have your basic components. Your compressor is like the heart of the system. Without a compressor, you can't have anything HVAC.
Okay.
You have your condensing coil is what it's called. That turns your mixture of liquid and vapor into straight liquid. So think of a coil as like just a bunch, it's like a big S. And about let's say 75% through it, it boils it condenses that vapor into straight liquid.
Sure.
So then you have liquid going through your system to your metering device. Your metering device just drops the pressure, and then it goes into your evaporator coil. So think of it, so a condenser is going from the top to bottom. Think of it, evaporator is going to the bottom to top.
Okay.
So it'll go through, and what it does, it turns that liquid into a vapor. and then it goes all the way through back into your compressor and starts that cycle again. That's just called the refrigeration cycle. And so when you're condensing, you're absorbing a bunch of heat into your system. When you're evaporating, you're rejecting a bunch of heat from your system.
It's pretty cool. So what tools do y'all use?
So I brought my tool bag here. I don't have everything. There's one major tool I don't have, and that's called your manifold gauges. Okay. Those tell you the refrigerant you're using in your system, the pressure of your refrigerant, and when you do a thing called superheat and subcooling. So that superheat and subcooling number tells you at which point of your condenser or evaporator you're turning into 100% vapor or 100% liquid. So, and that number should, on a good system, should be between 8 and 14 degrees.
Okay.
So,
that's 20.
20 is a little high. It's acceptable as long as it's not like 46 or like 54.
Okay.
So, most people use an impact driver, and that's what this is. This is Hercules. You can get them a lot smaller, especially in Milwaukee. But this is for mainly just taking apart a unit. In my bag, I also have a voltmeter. This is one of the like second most important thing you can use.
The first owner.
Yeah, these are my dad. He's letting me borrow it. So what this does is voltmeters, as it says, checks your voltage. So is everything running adequately to the amount of electricity going into it. It also checks ohms, temperature. Some of these check temperature as well, which you'll need to do for your superheating and subcooling because it's a calculation. That's what a lot of these systems are. Is very precise and very calculated machines. Kind of like a truck. You can't really just oddball it, or you get a Ford Ranger. These are your wire snips. These are for stripping wires, crimping wires, just everything wire works with this. 11-1 is a hand tool that has 11 different settings.
Okay.
So you have square bit, hex bit, flathead, Phillips head, and then you have different nut drivers. So 5/16, quarter inch, I think 3/8 are the three in here.
One of those.
Could be any one of those, yeah. Systems vary a lot depending on the size screws, where they're made. Also varies a lot. And also, the type of tools you use also varies on the application you're doing. If you're servicing, you'd literally only need about these two. Stabbed me. You'd probably just need these two because these are, you can check to see if everything's running good. Also, take the unit apart. Most outside units, the screws should only be at least hand tight. If they're from the factory, of course, they're going to be torqued down. So sometimes you'll need these. And when you do, you'll need different bits and sometimes extenders, depending on if they're hard to reach. If you're just installing, you would need technically a lot more tools, but it takes away the hassle. So service calls, you're going to some random person's house at some random part of Oklahoma, trying to see why something isn't working. And there's a lot of things that could happen. Service or install, what you're doing is you're just putting the unit in, installing it, leaving. And if something goes wrong with it for about, let's say, like a month, then the install crew will be called out instead of the service crew because it's kind of under warranty still.
Right.
So that's about most of the tools. Of course, you have a lot more. I mean, but like this is a stubby. That's the same thing as that. Just you can get into tighter spaces. Channel locks. It has its uses. Yeah, everything has their use. Everything has an application.
It's not always about the size.
Yeah, sometimes less is more and more is less. This tool bag is heavy. I can tell you that.
I can confirm.
Because it has a lot of tools in it. Also have a notepad for taking down notes, gloves, a PT chart.
Smart man.
So just some basic tools you're going to need.
Okay. So, how do we extend our system's life to get the most out of our systems?
So this is kind of like self-servicing. This is kind of like Walmart self-checkout. But The problem is, if you're renting a house, never touch your system.
Okay.
Only to replace your filter. Let me say that.
Okay.
And filters, let me tell you this, should be changed between 1 and 3 months. They're not yearly. They're not every 6
I
months.
don't think
They're
I've ever changed mine.
1 to 3. You're the reason we hate you. So
Mine doesn't work anymore.
So you can buy these cheap. They almost look like dryer filters you can put on in your dryers.
Okay.
Those should always be changed once a month.
Okay.
But the best thing to do is when you change your filter, write the date down. That's so if an HVAC tech comes out, looks at your house, they can say, "Hey, this was when this filter was installed." Or you can. It's kind of like oil. Your oil filters. A lot of time they'll write the date on it and how many miles are on it.
Yeah.
It's just so it's easier for yourself and other people. It's just being nicer.
Okay.
And other Walmarts, you can buy these thicker ones, probably about, I'd say about yay thick.
Pretty thick.
1.5 inches thick.
Yeah.
Really, really big. I gotta tell you.
Yeah.
Those should be 3 months max. They're not 6 months. They're not whenever it's convenient. Because when you think about it, a filter is like a filter.
Yeah.
If a filter gets clogged, it's going to start choking. Like, let's say you have a face mask on, and you put a dirty one on that's been has mud and everything on it. You're not going to breathe well because it's clogged and you can't get proper airflow through it. If you are experienced with a voltmeter and you're not renting a house, because if you're renting, you cannot touch those units other than to replace the filter, because you have things called renter rights. So that means the landlord doesn't do anything. Let's say you own your own house, you're really bougie rich, you own your own 1-bedroom house out in North Tulsa.
Whoa.
Yeah, really. Yeah, really bougie. And you have some grasp of basic HVAC components. You can extend your life of your system tenfold. So a system running good, maintenance properly, can get about 20-25 years out of it.
Okay.
That is horrible compared to what they used to be. Systems used to be able to last 30-35 years.
Right.
But everything's gotten cheaper and more produced more.
Damn China.
Yep. Even though a lot of these systems are made in the United States.
Exactly.
And not made in China.
Still gonna blame it on them.
Yep.
Okay.
But I mean, a lot of the components, like electrical components, you're gonna get those from China.
Mm-hmm.
There's just no doubt about it. Yeah, because Elon Musk ain't making these things. I tell you that. But if you know some grasp of basic HVAC skills, you can increase your life of your system. Or let's say there's a big thing. I mean, it's just the same thing with plumbing, electrical work, or anybody who comes to your house, roofers. If you know some basics of it, you cannot be scammed.
Okay.
I mean, if you let's say I know how to fix my truck. I don't. I can tell you that now. I don't.
Shame to you.
Yeah, I can tell you that. My dad tells me that every night. But if you know how to fix your own truck, if some guy starts going off and off and off about all these things that are wrong, you can be like, well, no, it's not.
Right.
It's just say some guy comes to your house. Let's say this: if I come to your house, that's a threat, not a promise. If I come to your house and I start working on your system, and I just start telling you, oh, it's low on refrigerant, you just want to trust me?
I am.
I can tell you that. It depends on the problem. It could be low on refrigerant. But I also got to tell you, refrigerant is $800 a bottle for a 410A. So that's a pretty big penny.
I'm just opening the windows at that point.
The biggest penny. That's also another thing. If it's spring or fall, where it's 70 degrees out, nice breeze, shut your system off, open your windows. What that does, so there's a big thing called an electricity bill. And what that does is shrinks it some. Not by a lot, but it shrinks it. It shrinks it a noticeable amount.
And you get more life out of your system, less you use it.
Yeah. If you're just sitting there like some dumb child, I could use more colorful language.
Yeah.
And just shutting off and on your system, you're not going to save money. If you leave the house and you shut off your system, come back, turn it back on, do the same thing every day, you're going to shorten the lifespan of your system because you're doing a thing called a short cycle. So like that compressor, like I said, these are fine-tuned machines. They work very precisely. So you shutting off, shutting back on them over and over and over again, you're going to wear them down very quickly. Now, very quickly, that can take 5 years, but that's not the 25 years you could get out of it.
Right.
What's next?
So, do you have any final thoughts?
I wouldn't say just like look up a video and self-teach yourself HVAC, because of course, you know, someone's always going to know more than you.
Mm-hmm.
That just works with everything. You can't be the most knowledgeable person in the world about something. But as long as you know the basics of it, you can increase the lifespan of something. And that just goes for everything. If you know how to take care of a washing machine, you can have like one from 1970s still running good.
Now, it's not as simple as mechanics, so you can't just look up a Chris Fix video for HVAC. But
No, you can look up HVAC simulator video and find out.
yeah,
And also like I've done a service call before on my mom's house on her refrigerator because it was making a strange noise. That's something I do. That's the more I know about it, the more these random cousins I don't know are gonna be calling me like, "Hey, my something ain't right," and that's when you start charging them a service fee. I can tell you now, if you call someone to service your unit, expect to pay a price of a high price because some of these guys they always charge an hourly rate even though it can take 20 minutes. That's just so the company makes some money. Because if you're out there for 15 minutes, they're going to be, oh, you know, here's your bill of $60. That ain't going to be true. It's going to be like 180 if you replace a capacitor, which those things are like $40. But a lot of these companies charge $120 service fee per hour. So, you know, and if you know your own system, you don't have to call someone out. Or if you know somebody who knows HVAC and you're not going to bug them, you can call them out. But once it comes time to replacing parts, call a company because they'll offer warranty. So if it's not the part that they replace, that's the problem, they come out there for free. That's what my company does. If we fix a problem, but that's not the problem, now we got to spend our own personal weekends trying to fix your problem. And that's not fun for anybody because you're trying to sing Kumbaya by a campfire and we're out there cussing and screaming trying to figure out what a problem is on a mini split. Yeah, so that's about HVAC for you. This is 2 chromes, 1 dome.